यो यो याम याम तनुम भक्तः श्रद्धया अर्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्य अचलाम श्रद्धाम तामेव विद्याम्यहम्. Hello friends, this is the 21st shlok of the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and today we will understand this shlok in detail. So let's first go over its meaning. So the shlok says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktah, which means whoever becomes devotee of whichever being Shraddhaya architum ichchati, which means by faith desires worshipping tasya tasya achalam shraddham, which means his steady faith tameva vidadhamyaham, which means to him certainly I grant. So the monotheistic traditions, they tell its followers that a person should only worship the one, and often what happens is that the deity which has to be worshipped is the deity which belongs to their tradition, and so what they say is that they should reject the deities of other traditions and should only worship the deity of their tradition. So in this manner what happens is that these traditions, they become exclusivists, they reject others and they only follow their own, and this exclusion basically brings them in direct conflict with the other traditions. Now from this shlok we will understand how the Indian tradition, and especially in Hinduism, the collectivism, you can say the reverse of exclusivism, which is the inclusivism, is taught. Although this tradition, that is the Sanatan tradition, is also the one which says that God is only one, but the outlook is inclusivist, and from this shlok we can understand how it is inclusive. So in the previous shlok we have already understood how Sri Krishna has said that all the different deities that are there, they are all basically different aspects of the one, and if the person only worships that deity with an understanding of worshipping just it, then he limits it to just that deity and is not able to attain the higher deity, which is Vasudev. Now in this shlok what Sri Krishna is telling is that anybody who worships any deity, if he worships that deity with full conviction, then I, which is the superior deity Vasudev, I basically strengthen or steady, make his belief steady in that deity. So that faith that is arising, or that desire to worship that is coming in a person to worship a lower deity, that thing is provided to that person by me. And so when a person understands this, then he is able to see that in his faith he is actually worshipping the superior deity in himself. So we can understand this from basically the idea of different people in itself. The problem is that basically when we worship a particular deity, if we are worshipping that deity with correct conviction, with the full conviction, then eventually what will happen is that we will get to the higher deity, but we are not really able to get to that higher deity because our faith is not really pure, our faith is not really honest, our faith is, it's fragile and it's not completely there, and because of that we limit ourselves and we stay limited in it. So as I said, we can understand it from examples itself. So let's go to the monotheistic faiths itself, which are so very adamant in terms of saying that you should only worship one, and that one is from our faith. So if you consider the example of some people from these faiths themselves, so let's consider the example of Rumi and Meister Eckhart. These two people, they come from these monotheistic faiths. themselves. But if you were to read their teachings in the correct way, I'm not really saying about the lower and people who have lower understanding who are reading them with a different mindset. I'm talking about the people who have really understood it. So from a Sanatan perspective, people who have really understood the thing, when you read Rumi or when you read Meister Eckhart, you basically see the teachings of Upanishad, Gita, and the Vedas there in their teaching also. There are other examples also. There is the example of Kabir, there is the example of the Bulle Shah. So there are these people who are coming from the monotheistic faiths who have understood the truth, and if you were to read their text, you will see that they are basically telling the same thing that we study in Upanishads and Gita. So how is it that they have understood this while many others in their faith are so dogmatic and they are not able to understand it? So the reason why that happens is because their faith in their deity, the faith of Rumi in Allah or the faith of Meister Eckhart in the Christian God, was so pure and so honest that they were able to understand the real truth. They were able to get to a point wherein they were able to let go of their ego. So uh, that those people could do it, but there are so many others who were not able to do it, and because they are not able to do it, that's why this whole problem is there, wherein they are so separatist, so exclusivist. If a Muslim is really believes in Allah, if he really has a faith in Allah, then he will never really feel a need to use sword and force others to embrace Islam. If a Christian, if he really truly believed in the omnipotence of God, then he will never really feel a need for him to really to use others to embrace Christianity and lure them by some sort of a thing. So these things that come in their mind in terms of putting others uh, and making them follow their faith in itself shows that they do not really believe in the omnipotence or the truth of their deity. Because if they know that their deity is true, then they don't really have to tell others to believe in them. A deity is true. They just believe in the truth of it. They don't really have to. They don't really have to make others follow and then say that, okay, now I know that it is true. Truth is there, it can stand on itself. So what we have to do is to understand that whenever a person tries others to follow his faith, then this shows that he does not really have complete faith in his own tradition. And that's why the person who actually have understood the truth will go above the pandits, he'll go above the Maulvis, or he'll go above the priests, because for him the deity is true in itself. So this strength of belief in the thing, in your deity, it comes from that superior deity which is giving this to all of us. And if our faith is really true, then we will eventually get there. So all these different deities that are there, which we worship, these are basically just toys that have been provided to us by the ultimate. And these toys we can use to strengthen our belief in it. It's basically just like how for little children, their parents, they offer them toy guns or dolls to help them develop these skills for the real things that they will be eventually facing in life. So that strength in that particular deity that strength of belief in that particular deity is provided by the ultimate. And as that belief becomes strong and strong, then you graduate from those toys to the real thing. So that is what Sri Krishna is telling over here, that in whichever deity a person puts his faith in, make his faith steady in him. And as his faith becomes steady and becomes pure, then he attains the real thing. So that is how the inclusivism has been incorporated into Sanatan Dharma, wherein all these different deities have been included, and they've been provided to you so that based on your own temperament, you follow a particular deity, and you strengthen your belief in that deity, and as your belief becomes strong and strong and strong, then you reach the ultimate. So I hope that I have explained this shlok well to you. With that, I will close this video. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.